To those watching online, greetings, beloveds, and welcome to Unity of Tempe. And if you are watching this later online and you haven't yet subscribed, or even for those who are here who haven't yet subscribed to our YouTube channel, I do encourage you to do that, Unity of Tempe on YouTube. So, you know that feeling when your phone or computer updates and suddenly nothing looks the same? You know, who knows it? Yeah, or worse, or you can't even find the icons you relied on, they've shifted, or the tabs that you've always used, they've just disappeared, or the program that you thought you knew has rearranged itself, a new update, and you do not recognize it. Wow, spiritual growth can feel a lot like that at times. Something in us changes. And then we spend a while learning how to navigate into the new landscape within. So today's message is about that awkward, holy, very human phase when you've had a spiritual update and you're still adjusting. And that brings us to a word we hear a lot during this season, and that word is resurrection. Now, to be clear, from a unity perspective, we're not talking about a one-time supernatural event that happened to just one person long ago. We're talking about something profoundly personal and ongoing, a metaphysical process, something that happens in us. And during the season of Lent, we prepared for this resurrection. And now, during the 50 days after Easter Sunday, which is the time known as Eastertide, we allow ourselves to integrate that transformation. And that transformation in unity is the rising of consciousness, an update, if you will. And now it's absolutely okay if the word resurrection has other meanings for you also. Because what I love about unity and about Unity of Tempe is that we are not here to tell you what to believe, but we are here to support you in aligning your actions with your convictions. And the important thing is living in such a way that to the very best of our ability reflects the teachings of the Christ, to love God, to love one another, and to let that love be revealed and shine in the way that we show up in the world. Rising in consciousness or spiritual updates are what happens when a larger truth breaks through the smaller story we've been living. Anyone been living a smaller story and want that larger truth to break through within them? You don't have to raise your hand, but I'm seeing some hands. Great. And when something in us wakes up and says, I can't go back to who I was. I'm different now. Now, many of us on the planet are currently experiencing this change. In fact, I believe the US and the world are going through a kind of collective birthing process. And birthing is beautiful, but it is also painful and messy and disorienting. And ultimately, I do believe, that our individual and collective rising of consciousness will be beautiful. Yet in this process, in 2026, for millions of us worldwide, it is horribly disorienting and it is extremely painful and confusing. Now, Eastertide is an opportunity to learn to live from the new consciousness that has already begun to emerge. Will we do that collectively as humanity? While some things seem extremely chaotic now, we can see some signs that people across continents want positive change. In fact, they're hungry for it. Anyone else peckish? You know the word peckish? It means hungry, right? Ron said, people in America don't use the word peckish. I'm like, but you all knew what it meant. We're peckish for change. In fact, we're starving, many of us, for that change. Now I'm going to share with you a metaphysical paraphrase of John, the Gospel of John, chapter 20, verses 19 through 29. On the evening of that first day, the first Easter Sunday, the disciples were gathered together in a room with the doors locked. They were unsettled and unsure of what to do next. And while they were there, Jesus appeared among them and greeted them with, "Peace be with you." And he showed them the marks on his hands and his signs of what he had gone through. And when they saw him, they were filled with joy and with relief. And he again offered them peace and spoke to them about being sent forth, just as he had been sent forth. Now, one of the disciples, Thomas, was not there when this happened. And when the others told him what they had experienced, he said he needed to see it for himself before he could accept it. And a week later, the disciples were gathered again, and this time, Thomas was with them. Even though the doors were locked, Jesus appeared among them once again and said, "Peace be with you." And he invited Thomas to examine and touch the wounds for himself. And at that time, Thomas became a believer. And Jesus said to him that he believed because he had seen with his own eyes. And he spoke of those who would believe without seeing. So now we're going to unpack this. The disciples aren't just afraid. They're disoriented. They're trying to live in an outer world that has already changed while their inner world is still catching up. Maybe it's time for a reboot. That dreaded thing, reboot your computer, restart your computer. Updates are necessary. Spiritually, expansion often begins underneath the surface, long before it becomes visible. Think of a seed sprouting underneath the ground. It's happening underneath there. It's just ready to come up, but the growth takes a while before it shows up. Now, the locked room the disciples were in represents the part of us that hasn't caught up with who we've become as we experience an upgrade. The part that knows something is shifted, but doesn't know yet how to live into that shift. The part that has had insight, but is still living from old patterns, old behaviors, and old stories. And sometimes we do that. We know, and yet we're still living from that old, worn-out part of ourselves. And why is this? Because we've had an internal shift, so why doesn't it always manifest in our behavior? Because transformation may come with an identity lag. We are not who we were before, but we are not sure yet how to be with our updated spiritual awareness. Who recognizes this in themselves at times? You're like, you got a whole idea of how you're going to respond, and then someone pushes your buttons and you're like, and you're like, ooh. Well, you can say there is now a thing for it, identity lag. Our cats were going at it this morning, 2 cats. They never go at it. It's the planets, I'm saying. It was like, what is going on out there? Identity lag. So the Christ presence in us is gentle with us as we move through this change. Jesus didn't come to scold the disciples. Excuse me, no peace for you. You're doing it wrong. No. He entered the locked room to help them update their consciousness. Imagine Jesus saying, you're living from an outdated version of yourself. Let's upgrade to your most current version. Now let's take a look at Thomas for a second. He has been given such a bad rap for centuries for doubting, for being stubborn, for being cynical, for being a skeptic, when really he's just being authentic and honest. To believe he needs a first-hand experience using all of his physical senses. Now, Thomas is the part of us that says, I'll believe it when I see it. When Jesus wants him to say, I'll see it when I believe it. But Jesus honors Thomas in a loving, understanding way. He doesn't say to him, Thomas, just believe harder. No, he says, come closer. Come closer. What is that? Come closer to the Christ within. Recognition requires a new way of seeing. And metaphysically, this is a great metaphor for perception. Resurrecting our consciousness requires a new way of seeing, not with our outward eyes, but inward with our spirit. Resurrection in consciousness is when our thinking, our choices, and our reactions start to line up with the truth that we've awakened to. It's like updating our inner operating system. Old programs no longer run on the new version. And that can be frustrating. But I like that old version. I'm working with Windows 2003. Don't make me change. I don't like the new stuff. Yeah, I don't want a cell phone. Not me. Resurrection in consciousness is what happens in us every time that life expands beyond our old identity. And that is every healing, every insight, every experience of forgiveness, whether we're doing the forgiving or we're being on the receiving end of the forgiveness. Every moment of clarity, every time we outgrow a pattern we thought we'd never escape. It's when you recognize fully that you are a child of the universe, that you have a right to be here, and that you belong. It's when you know deeply that you are good enough as you are. And also who you are becoming. For we are constantly evolving, constantly updating. And as I spoke of earlier, raising our consciousness is akin to a birthing process. And it's often very painful, unless you have an epidural. But there isn't one yet for our spiritual transformation, unless it's hugging your cats. That works for me. But seriously, most of us following a spiritual path, transformation can be very painful at times. And unity of new thought, there is a word for this. It's called chemicalization. It's not a nice, warm, welcoming word, is it? But that is the word for this. And it is the temporary upheaval and inner stirring up that happens before the download finishes. For example, you decide to work on maintaining your boundaries, and suddenly people who were used to the old version of you react. They're not happy because they can't manipulate you. And you start to feel guilty. Oh my goodness, maybe I'm not doing it right. And you begin questioning yourself and you wonder, why am I feeling this guilt? And suddenly everything feels out of whack. Who's had that one happen to them? Yeah. But do not despair. This is not a sign you're doing it wrong. It's a sign that the old pattern is dissolving. And here's another example. You affirm patience. And you are being guided to be more patient with the people in your life. And suddenly, every single thing that tests your patience shows up in multitudes. And you respond with your old snappy way. Don't give up. Stick with it. Chemicalization is the spiritual equivalent of shaking a snow globe. Remember the first thing that Jesus said to his disciples on that first Easter Sunday evening is, let's say it together, peace be with you. He didn't say, be at war with yourself and all who disagree with you, or be at war with entire populations and countries, or go forth and argue on Facebook. No, he said, peace be with you. And so, beloveds, as you continue in this season of Eastertide, may peace be with you. As your consciousness continues to rise, when you feel the old identity pulling you back into fear, doubt, smallness, or habits that no longer fit, say to yourself, peace be with you. Let's say it together. And say it to yourself, peace be with you. And then pause. Take a breath. Let your consciousness catch up. Remind yourself that you are not who you were before your new insight. Let your consciousness update itself, because this is living the resurrection. Let us pray. Divine Spirit, we honor the sacred disorientation that comes with growth. We bless the parts of us that are still catching up. We welcome the Thomas in us who wants the full experience. We open the locked rooms of our hearts to the new self that is already emerging. And we live the resurrection moment by moment as the ongoing reorganization of our consciousness into something freer, truer, and more alive. And so it is. And now here is a beautiful song to anchor this message and a beautiful video to go with it. Stick with it because you will see something magical.
I'm always changing. Who I was yesterday is gone. Embrace who I am today and let go of who I was before the dawn. Take only what I need with me. Leave behind hurtful memories. Once I have learned all I can't keep carrying my pain with me. Every moment, every day, I'm always deciding how I want to live, who I want to be. I'm always changing. Who I was yesterday is gone. Embrace who I am today and let go of who I was before the dawn. I'm always changing. Who I was yesterday is gone. Embrace who I am today and let go of who I was before the dawn. Whenever I get stuck in my life, I ask what I could do right now instead of why. I can't let my fears define my journey. And I gotta forgive myself for when I don't feel worthy. Every moment, every day, I'm always deciding how I want to live, who I want to be. I'm always changing. Who I was yesterday is gone. Embrace who I am I was before the dawn. I'm always changing. Who I was yesterday is gone. Embrace who I am today. Let go of who I was before the dawn. I'm always changing. Who I was yesterday is gone. Embrace who I am today. Let go of who I was before the dawn.
That really gets to me. We haven't shown it for a long time. I know some of you have seen it before, but it's so moving to me that we are always changing. And I love that, the evolution into this butterfly. The video is amazing. The song is amazing. And I was just guided. I was like, oh, what song are we going to do today? And I was looking through songs that we've played before, which is what I usually do, to see if I can replay something rather than spending hours upon hours looking for a new one. And this one just jumped out, and I looked at it, and I was like, oh, I started crying. So I was like, okay, it's going to be that one. So there we have it. So let us say together now, I am a beloved child of God, here to be an ambassador of good. Yes, we are. And it's time for our financial donations and giving to support Unity of Tempe. Excuse my sniffling here. Quite overcome. And we are so grateful. We are so grateful for your gifts because they support us being here in days when we are completely full and days when we're not, where we're just still showing up because we are a community that is continually evolving and growing, and we are so grateful for that. And so let us say together, I am a joyful sharer of my good. Remember, as I give, I receive, and that God is my source. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Divine Spirit, for these gifts. We bless the giver. We bless the receiver. We bless the generosity. We know that the givingness comes back to each of us in a multitude of ways, and we are so grateful for that. So very, very grateful. Thank you, Karen. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Janine. I want to remind you of our prayer Zoom call on Thursday mornings. It is a beautiful time of connection, so I invite you to be with us if you are able. And let us say together, the light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. It is well with my soul, and I am grateful. Bye to all of you watching later online, and blessings to you. We do hope you can come, if you're able, to be with us in person very soon.